Welcome, JeriLynne. Welcome to Travel Connections. It's so lovely to see you again. Not quite in person, but at least live.
Yes, thank you for having me. I was so excited to reconnect with you.
I know. Well, Travel Connections are about the connections we make, and you and I made a strong one, and I couldn't be happier to have you here. I did share a little bit with our listeners about how we met and what exactly happened to you. But first of all, let's begin with how are you doing? You look amazing, but
Thank you.
I mean, holy cow. What is the last, are we coming up on an anniversary here? About 9 months?
Yeah, it's been 9 months. We're actually doing pretty well. I joke that Scott and I have to go out every once in a while together so people know that we haven't killed each other.
Well, our listeners don't know, so they don't know the particulars yet about where you live and the advantages that you had. Unfortunately, your house did burn down, but there was another building on your property, so that's where you live.
Yeah, so we live in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is in the hill country, and our property we live in a development that is a former ranch, and there's 160 lots, and on the lot that we own, there is a hunting cabin. And that hunting cabin in Texas, a lot of times ranchers will lease out their land during hunting season and throw up, a cinder block building with a bathroom. And they lease out, they can make good money doing that. And so the person that actually owned the house prior to us, he ran his business. He is an accountant or a financial planner, I think it is. And so he ran his business out of here. So when we bought the property in September of 2020, our youngest son had just moved here from Massachusetts during the pandemic. The restaurant that he was a sous chef at had closed. And so he came here to work and have something to do. And so he ended up staying in the cabin, and he ended up working at the winery where Scott works he ended up becoming the executive chef, but he lived in the cabin, and I don't know, I'm not good. It's a football field away from the house. And so when we found out that the house was on fire, the first thing you think of is, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to live? And your homeowner's insurance generally will cover taking care of you for a year, like in a rental or something. So we could have gone for that, but we decided since we're going to rebuild on the same place, that instead of moving into town, because we live about 25 minutes outside of town, and we would have to go back and forth to see the progress and everything. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I thought it would be best for us to be here so I could watch and make sure that everything was taking place like I wanted it to. Right. So the cabin is 556 and a half square feet. It's just one big open room with a bathroom. There was no kitchen. I mean, it had like countertops and a sink.
Okay.
But remember, it's very rustic. And my son lived here, so we didn't even have a door on the bathroom. It was a sheet.
Okay.
So, rustic. We'll just go with rustic. And I'm not a camper. No, I love
no
people
offense to those that do.
Yeah, but my husband says if we had to stay at a Red Roof Inn, that would be camping to me. So I like the finer things in life a little bit.
Yes.
It's been an adjustment for sure.
Well, you've had many adjustments. It's hard to even know where to begin. So you come home, and I know now that you have actual plans for the house. So you have progressed, right? I mean,
yes. Actually, before we even left Italy, some of the people that were at Tuscan Women Cook with us, he was an architect. I forget his name, but we started putting things together. Like when we were there, we decided after the fire, instead of coming home, because we had nothing to come home to. So this was a trip of a lifetime that we had put off a couple of times because of the
COVID, right?
So we were like, well, fire be damned, we're gonna stay here. We're just gonna muddle through this. And we were very fortunate. The gentleman that is going to be building our house, he got the electricity running for our pool. Thank goodness our pool wasn't damaged. But we have conversations with him at night because of the time difference. So we decided to just stay there. And so we kind of had a rough idea of the couple of things we wanted to change in the house. And so we got the plans were all complete by the beginning of December, and now we're just in line behind the other homes to get framed. So our foundation is all set. Our plumbing's been fixed. We were able to use the same foundation, thank the good Lord, because that saved a lot of money. They just had to jackhammer down and reconnect the plumbing. And then we decided to add on another 1-car garage for a shop for Scott, because that was something we were thinking of doing as an exterior, another building. And we put a bathroom on the back of that so people won't have to go in and out of the house if they are in the pool and need to use the restroom. So it's all worked out, but we're in line for framing, and I'm becoming a bit impatient with that.
Well, that leads me to my next question. So you are a chef, you are a tastemaker, you wear a lot of hats. I want to know what you did before. You are now working in a very constricted area. So start with what you were doing before, and then how have you adjusted going forward?
So, that's an added bonus to losing your house when your business is in your home. You kind of lose that too.
Bonus? So, is that the word you use?
Yeah, I'm using the word bonus, trying to stay positive.
Okay.
So I was teaching online cooking classes for Recipe Kick, which is connected to La Peach, which is out of France. And so I was teaching 1 to 2 classes a week from my beautiful kitchen. But I also was, I had done the first draft of a cookbook, and a lot of it was not typed. A lot of it was handwritten or things that I had put together. And so all of those recipes burned along with my computer, and it was a 100% like total loss. Like we lost everything. So, that was kind of challenging when I got back. They were great as far as like trying to do something, but because of the lack of internet in here, like because it's a concrete walls, the internet is just not fantastic in here. Like if we're streaming a movie or something, yeah, that's great. But if I'm trying to do live stuff, it was not the greatest. And so I'm now doing some short content for them. Like I'm going interviewing like farmers, and I just did a really cool interview with this gentleman who grows mushrooms. So I'm still involved with them, but I'm no longer teaching classes online. So that was kind of sad for me, just because I enjoy cooking or in teaching cooking. So
or you do, and so if you tape something then or videotape it, then you can use that product to push out.
Right.
It's just the live feed that would be would be difficult for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of their short material where it's anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute or up to like 5 minutes. And a lot of it's going on YouTube or on their reels. So I'm still doing some stuff for them, but it's not what I was doing before.
Well, I was scrolling through your Instagram before I was going to come on with you. You have so many valuable tips, like how to roast a chicken, how to make the most delicious steak. I love all of that. That's just an aside compliment to you, because you have so much knowledge. So now you've got all this knowledge. Your studio, unfortunately, is no longer here for now. How are you doing it in your 500 plus square foot cabin?
556 and a half.
Oh, excuse me, I left off the 56.
The reason I know the exact measurement is as soon as we moved in, we had a cold spell, and our little split was not heating it up, and it turned out that the split had died. Like it just wasn't working. So we put $6,000 into a new split when we first got home. Like, thinking your house burnt down and you need $6,000 to live in his house. So when he asked me the square footage, I'm like, I think it's probably 900. I'm looking around. He had some laser thing. He's like, no, man, it's 556 and a half. It's not even 900. But anyway.
Only in your mind, yeah.
Exactly. So what I figured out while we were still in Italy is there was no stove here. The only fridge here is, I think it's considered an apartment size fridge. It's not like a dorm fridge that's really small, but I'm only 5'4" and I'm taller than the fridge.
Okay. Not a big one.
Yeah, no. And there's no place to put a stove. There's one circuit in this whole place so that you could not support a stove.
Okay.
So I bought a really nice all-clad like crock pot thing that I could saute things in and do crock potty stuff. I bought a really nice toaster oven. I got the one from Breville that does a lot of things, and it fits a whole chicken in there. Like I can roast a whole chicken in there. And then I bought a 2-burner and 2 induction burners to be able to have that. And when we got home, I then went to go look like I needed a counter to put the stuff on to cook on it.
Right.
And my church ended up chipping in and buying me it's an old, I don't even know, a high table. Like it's high enough that it's a counter.
Okay.
It's beautiful at one of the antique stores in town. And so that's what has become my kitchen, my makeshift kitchen. So, so what I have decided to do, I'm a former caterer. I'm a caterer for 35 years. And so I decided to, instead of wallowing in my pity and realizing I can't do my business the way I was doing my business, once again, that word pivot, which I came to detest the word pivot. And by 2021, I was tired of it, but I decided to pivot in my business and figure out how I could, there had to be a question out there that needed to be answered. And I had the question, like, if I am not equipped to have a huge kitchen, how am I going to do this? And so I went way back in my mind, and in my old catering days, the making of the list, the prepping, and doing all of those things to make the best use of space and time was making it more tangible for me to do it. So after I started doing it for a month, I'm like, wait, this is a product. People would want this.
Yes, they would.
Yeah. So I'm launching it the end of May. It's called Mastering the Ease of Home Cooking.
Wait, say it again. Mastering
the Ease of Home Cooking.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be your weeknight meal companion. And every week what you'll get is the menu for 3 meals. You'll get the recipes for the meals. I will come up with your grocery list for you. And then also we'll do a mise en place. So you're going to take 30 minutes at the beginning, like when you get home from grocery shopping or Sunday afternoon, whatever works for you, take 30 minutes and like prep all your stuff. That's the secret to success in a kitchen, is like if you go to a restaurant, that's how they can get things together, right? They have their mise en place. Everything is already set up for them. So you go in and like tonight, I'm making an Italian salad. And so I've already cut up my celery. I cleaned my escarole, and I'll just pull everything out. I've already made my salad dressing and just toss it all together. So the goal is to help people overcome boredom, save the time and money that you have. If you just go to the grocery store with no list, or don't know what to do, or you're tired of the same thing. I mean, I raised 4 kids, and the biggest annoyance was, "Ma, what's for dinner?"
Right.
And it was like, don't ask that question.
Right.
I'm tired. No. So having that menu, you can put it up on your fridge, and whether you have kids at home or just, a significant other or whatever, it's on the fridge. This is what we're having this week, and be able to do that and not waste your time planning and having to, you still do have to grocery shop, but you could have it delivered if that would save time for you. But so it's a system, which is what is keeping me sane.
Well, it does. And it's interesting how this came out of a hardship of yours, that you are now going to solve a problem. And I'm a firm believer that a good business solves a problem for someone, right? And so you are not only imparting your knowledge and your vast experience, but now you're going to solve their problem. I love this idea because, I might be able to go, okay, we could have meatloaf on Thursday and then maybe vegetable soup on Wednesday, but I don't know. And then you just kind of blow it off, and you don't take the time to get that organized. I don't think most people do. And so you are going to be super helpful. This is a great idea.
Oh, well, thank you. I think it will be helpful for a wide variety of people. So you, like I said, you might have some children at home, or like you and I are in that age where we're still working, but our kids have flown. And so it's just, you and your husband. And, or if you're retired, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of retired people. And I've heard them say, I've been cooking my whole life. I'm done. I'm tired. They don't want to think about it anymore because they've made me
They don't want to think
times and they're done. And so
mm-hmm.
these meals will be a little creative, but not like, you don't have to be a chef to do them. You're going to be, you're going to be a home cook, but you're going to have, get some skills and learn some things. And then like yesterday, I went on live and was showing how to comb potatoes. And a couple people like, I've never heard of this method before. And so just teaching some new tricks and tips to help you along the way, even if it's not with this, if you decide only to try it for a little while, you still will learn something.
So are they going to come via email then? So is it going to come that way to me if I sign up?
It'll be on Substack, which is a blogging site. And so if you are a subscriber, you will receive a notification from Substack. And then if you're a paid subscriber, you will get the actual recipes. So the menu, the other things will be a pop. And then once you've paid for it, then you'll get the rest of it. And I also will have a freebie out there. There'll be 1 week that everyone can try for free. So they'll see what I'm talking about, how it will work. But I'll also have a pantry and provisions list out there. So, your basic things, like it's easy when you lose everything to be like, okay, what do I really need to replace? Do I need a garlic press? No. Like I use my knife or my microplane. Like I try not to have a tool in my kitchen because I don't have room for it unless it can solve more than one problem. So I'll tell you what you truly need. And I'm just not I don't want to say gimmick person, because if somebody has a garlic press, I don't want them mad at me. But I don't like cleaning a garlic press. So
I don't either. I use it. Nice. I like my garlic press, but you have to really dig in there to get it off and all that stuff. But I think going back to the basics is not a bad way to be,
Exactly. And so learning things like, you can make a vinaigrette in 2 minutes. You know what you put in there. So I'm not a diet person, but as a diabetic, I had to learn years ago to read labels and understand what I'm putting in my body, and realizing that, if I make my own Italian sauce, but let's say you go to the store and you take a brand of sauce that's maybe $3.50. That one's got sugar, might even be the first ingredient, and all these chemicals, and all that should be in there is tomato sauce. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some onions, maybe a little garlic. Or you take one that's a little more expensive, like Rayo's is a little more expensive.
Right.
It's probably double, actually.
A lot more expensive, actually.
But that is like, it has ingredients in it that are all natural, and it's not like a natural organic product. It is just a higher quality product.
Right.
But making your own like salad dressing, like the olive oil. I still have olive oil that I got when I was in Italy with you. Almost gone. It's almost gone. But knowing the olive oil I'm putting in there and the vinegar I'm putting in there, and I chop that shallot myself, like, what you're putting in your body, and you just feel better.
Well, you do. And I don't think people understand how many chemicals are in bottled salad dressings.
Oh, I know. Salad dressing is one of the worst.
It's the worst. And I learned that a long time ago. Well, let's pivot. Speaking of tomato sauce, let's pivot back and let's talk about the importance of Italy in the beginning of your healing, because here we are in Tuscany. We're at a cooking school and everyone is so excited to meet each other. And you come with this hell of a story. Sorry, I have to say it.
Oh, yeah.
And my impression of you, I might even cry. I was just so in awe of you and your husband, because you were handling this major catastrophe in your life. But at the same time, you're like, wait, I'm here and I value this experience. I'm going to go for it. And you would come after your shower in the morning and I would meet you at breakfast and you were like, good morning. And you're having your yogurt and your fruit. And I was like, I don't know if I could have dragged myself out of bed to do that. And I just admire you so much. What do you think? Where did that strength come from?
Oh, gosh. Well, thank you for saying that.
Well, it's
Great
the
segue,
truth.
right? Like I set that up for a great segue for you. And you didn't have to pay me.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from my faith, I guess, the way I was raised. And I've gone through I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I've gone through a divorce. I've lost, I had a stillborn baby that was a twin and had to deal with that when I had 2 kids under 15 months old. I've had some stuff that, but just from that, I have a mantra of grace, grit, and gratitude. And that is how I try to live every single day, because every day is a gift. And yes, I lost everything, but as Scott and I discussed, that was our home, but where we are with each other, that is home. So now that is just our former house. And wherever we are together, that is our home. And he knew how much I wanted to go to Tuscan Women Cook forever.
Right.
So it happened. We were in Turin, and after Turin, we were leaving and going for 3 or 4 days in Lamora, and we had all of these. So he's in the wine industry, so it was kind of like, we'll do wine for you, food for me, and then it was a good balance. So when we were in Turin, and we decided we were going to go to Alba for the day on Sunday, which was already the plan, and we decided, we're going to go. Like, what are we going to sit in the hotel and cry about this? Like, there's nothing we can do until Monday. Like, I emailed my insurance agent. I had done those things. And we were in Alba, and all of a sudden one of us would start to cry, and the other one would like hold the hand. And then we would drink another glass of wine, and we started just talking to people that were at this wine event. And we're like, we're in Italy, man. Like, we might not be here. So where the lightning hit the house, Suzanne, was above our bedroom. So,
oh man, chills.
Yeah. I saw the burn mark on the cement, and it was late at night, and we might not be here. So we might as well drink some good wine and meet some cool people and really immerse ourselves in Italy. And then while we were in Lamora, this woman, her name is Sarah from Open Piedmont Tours, I think is the name of it. Her and I had been talking for a couple of years, setting this up. And so we told her immediately, like,
right.
We were still like at the phase where we were crying all the time, which actually just ended yesterday. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But we told her up front, this is what happened. If we get a phone call, we apologize. Like, with the time difference, it shouldn't be a problem. And she was just fantastic. And we had the best time with her. And we were like, we can do this. Like, we're going to get through this. And so then I reached out to Coleen and Aiden and let them know that this is what happened. We're still coming, but you please understand if all of a sudden one of us gets weepy or whatever, like, I don't want to ruin anyone else's trip. Like, we were not going to be Debbie Downers. And that was just the attitude we went to it. And we just started, like, I don't know, seeing things. Like, we kept seeing arches everywhere. And so when we were starting to design the house, we're like, well, we're going to do some little nods to Tuscany. We're going to do some nods to Italy, because that's where we started to heal. And we had each other, and that was enough.
Right.
Not saying we weren't sad, not saying it wasn't hard. It was even harder coming home. Our builder was great and found somebody to take everything down for us, because the insurance company doesn't do that. They come, they check it, and they're like, okay, we'll write the check, but you have to get that done. And so I said, please have it done before we come home. I don't think I'm asking too much. I don't think I can see the ashes. And unfortunately, they started on Friday and we got home on Saturday night. So I did see the ashes, and it was very difficult. But yeah, being in Italy, I think, was the best thing for us. And we met wonderful people like you and everybody that was on our trip. And before we got to you, we stayed in Maltacino, and Chiara, who was our wine tour guide there, she got us around, and she was fantastic. So just meeting these people, and now I've made all of those connections, travel connections, that, we have friends for life. And so to me, it was worth staying.
Well, you do. And I don't know if everyone could have done that. I think some people might have just gotten on a plane and gone straight home because that's how they dealt with it. And I loved observing the two of you and how you dealt with it. I thought our group was so welcoming and so wonderful. And the situation with friends, family, and food is it's a nurturing experience to begin with. And Tuscan Women Cook is about the nonnas, the grandmas, who share their knowledge and their recipes with us, right? So it was almost like being around your grandma as you're going through this hard time. There's lots of hugs, there's lots of support and positive energy. I can see how that would give you that little nudge, that little like, hey, look how good this world can be. And Italy does it. It does it for me. And obviously it does it for you, that it provides this support system, even if it's a silent support system, it's a special place.
Well, my name online is the Hill Country Bon Vivant. I love being a bon vivant and somebody who embraces enjoying the smaller things in life. And that I love living La Dolce Vita, like just finding those small things and taking 2.5 hours to eat your lunch. Like those things to me.
You. Mm-hmm.
I think as Americans, a lot of us are missing out on that. And we're just go, 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 go. And instead of stopping and smelling the roses and seeing that there's gratitude every day. So even through our sadness, like we were walking through Siena and I don't know if you were there. I think you were in the same group, and the guy was playing the cello just in the middle. Like we went up this really big hill, and he was playing cello, and I started to get weepy.
Yes, I do remember that moment.
Mars song, and my husband started dancing with me, just slow dancing with me in a crowd full of everybody. And I think it was Aiden who caught it on tape and then sent it to me later. And it wasn't like he was being showy. He knew he just needed to be my rock for that moment. I don't know what besides the song started the tears, but it was definitely where we needed to be. I mean, if your house burns down, I recommend being in
being in Italy.
Yes, 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh my gosh. Well, when people go, you've touched on it already, but I think we could go a little bit further here. When people do go through catastrophic things, there are life lessons that come to the surface, right? You were talking about, smelling the roses and taking a moment. I'll tell you what, the world is in a pretty dark place right now, I think, in so many aspects. And I just find myself searching for those same things that you're looking for. And I wish more people would go look for them instead of looking on their phones and looking for the negative things that are out there. Do you try to do that now? Do you kind of put yourself on like a news like I can't deal with any more hard stuff, people?
I have not been a news watcher for decades, honestly.
Okay.
Honestly, 9/11. I will tell you that was probably one of the worst days of my life. I lived in England. I knew people on the planes. I know people that died that day.
Yes.
That was the day my oldest son told me he was going to go in the service and find the bad guys. And he was in 8th grade, So I stopped kind of, I don't want to say I live a Pollyanna life and shelter myself. If something is awful that I need to know, my husband will, he'll give me a heads up. But you can find negativity in anything. I mean, there's tons of stuff to be negative out there. But I like to think, giving people grace, giving situations grace, not understanding the whole thing. Mm-hmm. In the news myself, I have been misquoted or misunderstood about one thing. I got a CSA, which is community supported agriculture. I got that to work at an old job of mine where the farm would come and bring veggies to those employees. And I was interviewed by the local paper, and I don't remember what the misquote was. I had a copy before the house burned.
Well, no, you don't. Yeah.
I was misquoted. Like they only took half of what I said, and it was out of context. And I got a lot of heck for that. And I was like, that's not what I said. That was the context. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and try to think the best of people. Like it's easy to assume the worst, but I try to think the best. Like, if you text someone and they don't text you back, it's probably not because they're mad at you. It's probably because they're busy or they forgot, and just try to look at things through that lens. I've always been, well, just on StrengthsFinders. I don't know if you know StrengthsFinders. It's a test that you can take, and there's, I think, 35 or 36 qualities that you can have.
Okay.
And my second quality is positivity. So sometimes people can say it's like I can be annoying because I always try to see the positive of things, but it's just the way that I've chosen to live, because if you choose the negative, you can be depressed real quick.
Well, isn't it? You are what you believe, or you are what you go towards. So if you're going to always choose the negative, then you're going to be negative. I mean, that seems to me what you would normally assume would happen. Well, my dear, let's recap here. I want everyone to have a good, clear picture about where they can find you, what the name of your website is, the name of your new business. So let's finish with that positivity.
Okay. So I am on Instagram as the underscore hill underscore country underscore bon vivant, and BONVIVANT. You'll find me once you finish like the third underscore. I was hacked a couple years ago, and so I had to throw the underscores in there. So my new offering is called Mastering the Ease of Home Cooking. Right. If you go onto my Instagram page, my last 2 or 3 weeks, it has links in there all the time. It's on my Substack. You just subscribe to my Substack and you'll get all the information. Okay. And that is going to be, the free week is I think it ends up being Memorial Day week. Okay. That will come out on Thursday. The menu will come out on Thursday, and then that's got the recipes and things for the following week.
Okay.
It will be a Thursday. Then you have all weekend to get your groceries or go to the farmer's market, or however you want to do that. And then we'll show, and I will be demonstrating that. I'm very active on Instagram.
So your Instagram is very educational. I mean, it's very educational. It's very funny, and I think you're a natural, because you talk about all kinds of stuff, which I think is so entertaining and so helpful. Well, I hope that our conversation, we can just let more people know about what you're doing and can help support you in this amazing time in your life. I can't wait to celebrate with you when your house is finished and your business is thriving and it's all where it needs to be.
Well, you'll be invited. We are so thrilled with Italy that we are bringing people with us next year. So we're going to we have a total of, I think there's 12 of us, and we're bringing them back to show some of our friends where we started to heal and share the love that we felt in Italy. And we're even staying for a whole week at Tuscany with our friends there. And so it's gonna be good. We're gonna go back to that, and hopefully by the time we get back, the house will be done.
I think all of that makes sense. And I think to bring your family and friends, I mean, who knows, maybe you've got another business in the future with tours and other things too. So stay tuned.
That might be up my sleeve. We'll see how good I do preparing this, because I'm fine planning stuff for Scott and I, but planning for that many people, we'll see. If it comes out, I'm gonna have to do it every year. We'll see.
I think it sounds like a grand time. Well, thank you so much, JeriLynne, for being here with us. And I loved hearing your stories and seeing you again. And I can't wait to see you in person sometime soon.
That sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.